is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vanderkrant in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vanderkrant in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride,
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono. He's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it to turns. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner up through turns for 2 and 3? They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because Tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't doing it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, let's see if we get a good line. Dodd's just absolute beast, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SRWtv. Welcome into round number 8 of season 1 of the Legends World Challenge here for 2024 for Bathurst. What a challenge this is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. The second part of our Australian triple header to end out the season here for the Legends World Challenge. I'm your commentator, as always, Hamish Bunner, bringing you all the action through sight and sound right here on SRWtv. And if you haven't already and you enjoy any of the content that we're bringing you recently, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well. Last week at Oran Park, absolute hectic action once again here in the Legends World Challenge, and that's kind of been the tale of all season. It has been some fast-paced, fun Friday night action here on the Friday evenings for the Legends World Challenge. Now, there are conversations for next season for the Legends World Challenge to be pushed back by around about an hour or so, just to allow more drivers to get in and fill in some space that will be freed up in future. So registrations will be reopened once again. They're not officially closed for this season as of yet. Still a couple of minor things to be done in the background, but it will be remaining free, and the calendar will be releasing as of this week for next season. It will still be free, as I mentioned. This will be a free, fun series for you guys to come and enjoy as of season 4. So there's more Legends World Challenge action to come. Pato in the chat, this will be so good. We'd love to have you out there on track, Pato. We know you signed up for the series. Love to have you racing with us once again. We finally have Stephanie Piccoli in the races as well. She's out in the field, so we'll see her have a crack at Bathurst here tonight. Some of our regular players are still here. Tyler Sheaf, Jordan Ferguson, Jack Anderson, Dan Bartish, Andrew Rushworth, Mick Clifton, Dougie Gowans, Tony Baker, Sam Chapman, Tom Brown, of course, as well. We all know at this stage in time there are really 3 drivers in contention for this championship. Tony Baker, Andrew Rushworth, and Jack Anderson. The next 2 rounds are going to be absolutely imperative for them in wanting to win this title at work. Okay, no worries, Pat. Totally understand. Totally understand if you're at work. Well, I hope you enjoy watching the action as much as I'm going to enjoy calling it here tonight. So as mentioned, Tony Baker, Andrew Rushworth, Jack Anderson. They are our main championship contenders at the moment, so they need to make sure they hit their marks to perfection tonight at Bathurst and next week at our Driver's Choice round of Sandown. Bathurst, though, this is going to be a tough task. This is going to be a challenge for these drivers. Raced here last season in the original series of Legends World Challenge over in IRWC, and it's tough. It's a tough track, tough race, can promote some fantastic battling in these cars, but it is going to be one hell of a challenge, and keeping it clean, consistent is going to be imperative here tonight. That is what that's what needs to be on the minds of these drivers. Of course, the regular layout of things for Legends World Challenge, the regular format that we run every single week. 10-minute quali, 10-minute race 1, short little expression session / warm-up, and the 15-minute feature to come after that as well. Now, depending on numbers later tonight, we will also have the Warren & Brown Tools GTD series. We haven't been meeting our required numbers to go live on a broadcast the last couple of weeks for that series, unfortunately. We'd love to see it keep on going. We'd love to see some more cars out there with us. Of course, there's been an amendment to the rules. There's an extra free car change on offer to those who did not use it last week for those who wish to race in the brand new McLaren 720S GT3 car. So that is on offer this week for the Warren & Brown Tools GTD series. They will be racing at Portimao later tonight. Broadcast is scheduled to happen at 10 to 8 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Whether we go live for that one will be dependent on the sign-ups for the race later on tonight. But let's get into this Legends action. Qualifying is going to be starting very, very shortly here. I just realized I still had round 7 on there instead of round 8. We are round 8. Of course, not round 7. And I'm excited because I know what it's like to cut laps around this track in this car. I know what the car track combination is like. It is fast, it is flowing, but it is an absolute wrestle to get this thing around at maximum effort across a whole lap around here. It is so difficult to get it absolutely perfected for a whole lap, but we're going to see these drivers have a proper crack at it very shortly as qualifying is about to get underway. We'll give a quick shout out as well to our title sponsors, Warren & Brown Tools, for their continued support on the Tuesday night V8 Supercars, the Friday night GTD Series, and the Sunday night Supercars Championship as well. So what a cool us for their continued support of the Super Formula Championship on Wednesday nights. What an absolute crescendo to the championship we had on Wednesday, as well to Shannon's Insurance for their continued support of the GR86 Nationals on Thursday night, as well as our other sponsors, NeuroPower, DSL Railway Services, Shunt Scenery, and Groom Industries as well. Home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be seen and found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia in the little studio segments for the news, interviews, or whatever they may be doing inside the studio. As qualifying is getting underway, we will get a nice little glimpse of the pace of this track, of the pace of this field around this track. Should be looking at the top end around about 2:38 for these lap times at the top end of town. Could be slightly faster, depending on how the track is out there. Jack Anderson on field already. Mr. Baker's out there, so is Sheafy, so is Bathurst too. But this is going to be a test. It's going to be a real test. It's going to be a real wrestle for these drivers. It's a long lap. Jordan Ferguson's now out there as well as Andrew Rushworth. We'll go on board here with Anderson. You can just see tiptoeing it across the top. Now, this is not full push. He is not willing to push it too hard here early doors in the piece. But the push lap is going to be insane. Absolutely insane. Especially when you run it down the hill at Skyline. Very easy to run it in the wall here, which he nearly does at the dipper. Oh my God, only just pulls it up. Could have been very hairy there for Jack Anderson if he was not careful. Of course, coming up for the rest of this week, ladies and gentlemen, Sunday night V8 Supercars Championship brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools. The final round of the season on offer for you out at Road America. It is going to be a proper test of these drivers, of their endurance as well, and their willingness to push hard for this championship. Can Ty Delaney win his first ever league title here in SRW, or will Rehan Leonage or Dylan Gray have anything to say about it? All the pressure is on them to try and get the moves done on Ty. Next Wednesday night as well, GSRC SRW co-hosted event, the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. The track was revealed yesterday. Silverstone is the host of Wednesday night Australian Open Wheel Nationals. It is going to be absolutely epic. So set your markers. Wednesday, September 18. We'll be going live around about 7:30 p.m. for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. That is going to be massive around Silverstone. Of course, the drivers list has been released. 17 drivers from GSRC, including Jackson Rayhana and others. And then, of course, our SRW faithful with the absolute killer story of Phil Vella returning in the moon boot to race this past Wednesday to lock himself in for next Wednesday. That's going to be epic. SRW and GSRC racing amongst each other, against each other, however you want to market it. That is what is on offer for you next Wednesday night. Then next Friday, final round here for the Legends World Challenge out at Sandown, as well for the Driver's Choice round of the Warren & Brown Tools GTD Series. As drivers are beginning their initial attempts here at a qualifying lap around this circuit. Bathurst had a couple of purple sectors. Baker's gone faster on the first. As Anderson and Sheaf rise up towards Silman Park and in towards the Great. Not quite as fast as the supercar across the top of the mountain, but you have a lot more room to play with out through McPhillamy now and towards Skyline as well. What can these guys put together for a lap time? Bartish is a little bit further round. Ferguson has gone fastest in the first sector. Baker is still fastest in the second. Third sector is with Baker as well at the moment. As down through Forest Elbow comes Anderson. Sheaf is still closely in behind here for qualifying. So, yeah, it's a massive week to come. Massive couple of weeks, actually, for SRW. I mentioned the Australian Open World Nationals next Wednesday night. Final round of Legends World Challenge and Wind Brown Tools GTD Series next Friday. The Wednesday after that, I believe the first Wednesday of October. Let me double check the the calendar. I'll make sure my dates are actually correct. I might be completely wrong. I think I am completely wrong. Wednesday the 25th of September, F1 Shadow Series action for the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship out at Belle Isle. So the off-season continues with some F1 Shadow Series action. That will, of course, be mimicking the Singapore Grand Prix as Bathurst comes across the line. 2:38.63 for the first time to get counted here in qualifying. What does Anderson and Sheaf do as they come across the line? Appears their times have not counted, so they have incurred an off-track somewhere along the piece. What about Baker down towards the final corner as Clifton's now gone fastest in the first sector as well. As Baker comes up across the line, new colours on this car this weekend. Still repping the Monster Energy look as he crosses the line. 138.0, so a 37 could be on the cards here if anyone can get the pace down. So your new colours on Baker's car, still rocking the Monster Energy, but just a slightly different look. Clifton now over Skyline, down through the S's and in towards the Dipper. Such a fast-paced, tough little run down the hill. You've got to be hitting your markers to absolute perfection. Ferguson now goes P3, 239.33 on the clock. We've got 3.5 minutes to go, so not long now for these guys to get times in. Possibly only 2 opportunities to get a lap in here in qualifying, as Baker has already gone fastest in the first sector now, so he has pipped Mickey Clifton's time in the first sector. So could he go faster on this next lap and get into the 37s? Through the chase for Mickey Clifton, the rock star, the mullet flowing nicely at the back end of the helmet. Oh, nice little wiggle through there, but it looks good. No off track for Mickey just yet. It's all green sectors at this stage. Anderson's gone fastest in the 4th sector, so he could be on for something special when he crosses the line. Clifton comes round. Is it going to be the fastest time in the session? Is he going to go any further up? P2 on the road for Clifton with a 238.36. That will... Oh, he might get another lap in here. He's got around about 2.5 minutes as Baker just coming up over the rise and through Forest Elbow. Anderson's down at the chase. Piccoli's out there. So is DeVries. So we got some good numbers here tonight in the chase now for Anderson. He's got a fastest sector under his belt. Baker got even faster in the first couple of sectors. For his final chance at setting a lap in qualifying. Anderson now round the final corner. Is the time going to count? And is it going to be good enough to put him at the front end of town in a championship battle? Oh, he's gone 239.3. So it's just not quite good enough there for Anderson. DeVries is out there for a lap. Piccoli as well. Clifton on for a mega one. Baker's going to come up to the line. Is the time going to be any better? Are we going to see a 37 in qualifying from Baker? 37.8 for Tony Baker. A whole 5/10 faster than Mickey Clifton. So he needs to push here. He needs to move. Needs to try and get this thing to the start-finish line to complete the lap. He will get cut off at the end of qualifying if he cannot make it back before the end of the 10 minutes. Down into Forest Elbow now for Clifton. Bit of tyre smoke here, so someone's had a bit of a moment. At the moment, it's Baker, Clifton, Rushworth, Bartish, Anderson, Ferguson, all the cars who have set time. Sheaf, Gowans, Chapman, Piccoli, DeVries. yet to do so. Chapman not attempting, it seems. Sheaf and Gowans made an attempt, but could not get a lap together. Piccoli and De Vries yet to finish off their first attempts. I don't even think De Vries actually going to be able to get a time in. It's a 2:44 from Piccoli, so it is a bit off the pace here in her first lap in a fair while in the Little Legends. Through the chase now for Mickey Clifton. Is he going to have enough time to get to the finish line here? He's got around about 10 seconds. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. This is going to be super, super close for Mick Clifton if he hopes to take pole position. I don't think he's got time. 10 minutes is up. He gets cut off, and that is it for qualifying here at Bathurst. In an absolute shambles there for Mickey Clifton. He just misses out on the opportunity to set the lap time. Wow, wowee. Unbelievable stuff as drivers are going to be getting gridded up very, very shortly. This will be the grid for tonight's race. Tony Baker and Mick Clifton will start on the front row of the grid ahead of Andrew Rushworth and Dan Bartish. Jack Anderson, Jordan Ferguson starting alongside each other. Stephanie Piccoli and Sam Chapman alongside with Doug Gowns, Tyler Schiffer behind them. Tom Brown was in the session. Not sure if he's racing. Ash De Vries is definitely out there, and he is definitely racing with us here tonight for the Legends World Challenge. It's a short, sharp grid. 12 cars out there. Steph in the chat finally made a round. You finally did, Steph. Good to see you out there. As the grid has been set, and there is our pole sitter, Mr. Tony Baker. We'll see if he can survive in the 04 machine. He is trying to chase some championship hopes for himself. He's one of the 3 drivers within this battle for the championship alongside Anderson and Rushworth. Rushworth's only 2 positions behind Baker, literally right behind him on the road. Further 2 spots back is Anderson, so they are all abreast with each other at the moment. All the drivers getting over the radio, prepping themselves for this race. Put your predictions into the chat. Who you think is going to take it here tonight? Who do you think has the wherewithal, the consistency to get this job done? Rushworth's on the grid. Brown is not. Lights are going to go up. We are going to go racing with 11 cars out of 12 out here at Bathurst for the Legends World Challenge. Round number 8, race number 1. We are away. Baker rockets it off the line. So does Rushworth in the background as they all rush down towards turn number 1 for the very first time. Baker leads Clifton, Rushworth, Bartish, Anderson, Ferguson, Chapman, Gowans, Piccoli, Sheaf and De Vries up towards turn number 2. As Piccoli is already dropping spots here. Pickles Queen, that's a nice custom helmet there for Steph. As they rocket up towards turn number 2. The Little Legends out at Bathurst. They are here, there, or everywhere. They are spreading like flies across the track. Up into turn 2 now. Could see some carnage here throughout this race. Baker and Clifton through. Bartish and Rushworth 2 wide through turn 2. Rushworth still there. So is Bartish. These guys battling it out tooth and nail up towards turn 3 at the cutting. Bartish just sneaks it ahead at the moment. Anderson, though, trying to sneak up the inside as well. The battle is on here for P3 on the road. Clifton and Baker starting to run away with things. But we'll see if they get reeled in like a fish in a pond just yet. You can see Ferguson and Sheaf, these guys battling in the background as well. Gowans is lurking, so is Piccoli, so is De Vries. The whole field separated by barely a whisper. And they are still battling tooth and nail forward here to the top 2 positions as Bartish now settles in ahead of Rushworth and Anderson. Up across McPhillamy Park and into Skyline for the run down the hill. The fast-paced, full commitment run into the dipper for Dan Bartish. It looks good. Nice and tidy through there. He's got Rushworth right in behind him now. Trying to cover him. Anderson's had a massive moment. Very Chaz Mostert-like. And he's into the wall, and the championship contender is going to drop to the back of the field. Bartish is gone as well. He's pulled himself a Dick Johnson as he hit the tree. Wow, wowee, mammoth moment here as cars are going everywhere. De Vries is off the side of the track, catches out Chapman down Conrod, with Sheep involved as well. Mammoth carnage at the end of lap 1 here. Mammoth carnage, about 5 cars involved in the span of only about 300 metres down Conrod. At the front end of town, Baker leads. Clifton's gone off out of P2. He's all the way down in P5. The reprieve for him is all those cars in behind him got caught up in the moment down Conrod Straight. A mammoth moment in this race that has completely spread the field like butter on toast. And Baker now has a well gap in hand back to Andrew Rushworth. What a moment as Chapman has been forced to bring the car into pit lane to get this thing fixed up. Sheafy's also in. De Vries has kept going. Bartish as well. Anderson, luckily for him, made up some free spots throughout the carnage. Piccoli now behind him as well. Clifton just up the road. We need to unpack this, folks, just a little bit here. Hopefully we get a little bit of time to breathe to unpack this. So this was the initial incident here. This was with Anderson up at the Dipper and Forest Elbow. So he comes down. What does he do? Does he hit the inside? Oh, no, he hit the back of Rushworth. And then into the wall. And this was further around. This was Ferguson and Bartish. So you see there, Bartish already into the wall. Chapman got slightly caught up. Ferguson had to take avoiding action. So what happened with Bartish into the wall? So he comes around. Oh, a little bit of a punt by Rushworth, it seems. And then this was De Vries. Off the track, found an invisible jump, somehow catches out Chapman. In a wild moment here, early on in this race. Absolutely wild stuff. Check it out from the blimp. So off the track, there's the jump, and then bang, straight into the side of him. Unloads Sheafy, unloads Chapman, unloads himself, and Anderson just streaks on through. Then this was Clifton down at the chase. What has happened to Mickey Clifton down at the chase? Has he just outbroken himself? Oh, he hopped the curb, and then it caught massive amounts of grip. No worries, Beck. Thank you so much for watching us, even with even with someone on the phone. We do appreciate you being here with us. Unfortunately, Mickey Clifton getting caught up in an incident early on here. Baker, though, has the lead well in hand at this stage as he comes around the chase. 5 minutes into this race already. We've got 5 minutes to go. Closest battle on track is Andrew Rushworth and Doug Gowans. Wow. Take a breath. What an opening sequence of this race on lap 1. So many drivers have now taken advantage. I mean, you look at Doug Gowans, you look at Jordan Ferguson, well up from where they started. Ferguson's up 2, Gowans is up 6 from where they started. Just an insane moment at the early point of this race. And we know that with the reverse grid races for race 2, that often leads to a little bit of carnage, to a little bit of sauciness for us to delve into. As Piccoli's had a moment at the final corner, a bit of a rotation. Yeah, there's often a little bit of a sauciness that can come out of it as they rocket up the hill, just screaming up across the crest. So race 2 could be even better. As round through, Griffin's bend up towards the cunning. Gowan's still not quite able to get past Andrew Rushworth just yet. The battle is still on here. We'll sit on board with Mr. Gowans as he fights through this battle. And let's just enjoy the sounds of this car for a moment. full volume, this thing is an absolute screamer, the Legends car. As unfortunately, Stephanie Piccoli has had to tow back to pits. We'll have a look at what's happened to her in just a moment. But right now, Gowans is all over the back of Andrew Rushworth down Conrod Straight. We'll see if he's able to get the move done down at the chase. Ferguson's lurking in behind as well, so if these two tangle, he'll be ready to pick up the scraps. Side by side, wheel to wheel, down the hill they come. Gowans has the run on the inside line. Does Rushworth have to give it up? Or is he going to fight him and go too wide through the chase? Oh my God. What a wild pass there from Gowans into the chase. Gets the job done up into P2 now, and all of a sudden Rushworth under pressure here like Queen and David Bowie from Jordan Ferguson at this stage. As Ferguson trying to get it done up the inside of Rushworth now down at Hell Corner. Can he get the job done? Not quite close enough just yet. This is what happened to Stephanie Piccoli up at the cutting. She already had that minor spin earlier. That would have heated up the tyres a little bit. Oh, just a poor entry into that corner and bang. Massive contact. So this was further round up at turn 3. So Griffin's in the cutting of the culprits here. You can see the damage on that thing. Oh, and into the wall. So yeah, that thing was not sitting pretty at that point, as Anderson's just losing a position here to Bartish up the hill. The battles have started to heat up again. We've got one lap left. Baker is a little bit further up the road by around about 6.1 seconds back to Dougie Gowans in P2. So when he crosses the line, we should get the checkered flag here tonight. This has been some phenomenal racing thus far. A lot of chaos here tonight already. I'm excited for the reverse grid of race number 2. That is going to be insane. We know it has led to some phenomenal racing. We know it's led to some controversy. We know it has led to some game-changing moments this season. We'll see if it does the same here tonight at Bathurst, which is already a bit of a wild card factor about it. We know that it is a tough job. We know it is a tough track, and we know that if you do not come here with respect for this place, it will bite you hard. Just because these things have a less of a profile than, say, a GT car or a supercar does not mean you need to bring them with any less respect that you would when racing the others here for an endurance event like the 1000 or the 12 hour. Down Conrod now. These guys still intense battling. Baker up the road in towards the chase. So he's on here for a quality finish here tonight and a good win under his belt for race number 1. We'll see if he can do it again in race number 2, as long as he keeps it clean through the chase under brakes now for the 04 machine. Does the job very, very nicely through there. Up towards the final corner now for Tony Baker after a dominant performance. He got out early, got away from the battle pack, and just became released like the Kraken he is. Round the final corner, Tony Baker takes the win for race number 1 of round 8 of the Legends World Challenge. Doug Gowans down through the final corner now. He's going to take P2 on the road. Andrew Rushworth, Jordan Ferguson, Mick Clifton makes up the top 5. Dan Bartish now down towards the final corner. After having a bit of an incident earlier on, he's going to come home P6 on the road. Jack Anderson in behind him is going to come home P7 to drop a couple of points now to Rushworth and Baker in the championship. De Vries is going to come home P8 on the road. 4 spots up from where he started. Chapman in behind him in P9. Tyler Sheaf, ever so far behind, is going to make up the top 10 with Stephanie Piccoli out of this race only a couple of laps ago. As I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon so you're notified whenever we go racing here at SRWtv. Got more racing to come here tonight. The second race, the Legends World Challenge, full reverse grid action. It is going to be absolutely wild. Later on tonight, depending on the numbers, we will have the GTD series brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools on offer here on SRWtv as well. Again, dependent on entries. We haven't had the numbers the last couple of weeks. We could get them again. We could get it this week. We are hopeful. Portimao tonight, obviously, great track for racing. We'll see if the drivers agree on that one as well. As Tony Baker's leaving pit lane, he looked to have been attempting something. Maybe just doing some practice starts in the pit lane down there here at Mount Panorama. So let us know, get in the chat. Let us know what you think of the car track combination. And if you're excited for Sandown next week, it's going to be an absolute belter of a time as these drivers attempt to go better and better towards the end of this season in their hopes to win the championship. So we've got no cars out on track at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick little ad break. We'll be back once the warm-up is done and dusted. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Reverse grid action and race number 2 still to come here tonight of the Legends World Challenge.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vanderkran in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here. Daytona was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vanderkran in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono, who's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
The warm-up has ended, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here for race number 2 of the Legends World Challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed your small break there in between races, as the grid's going to come up now for race number 2. Tom Brown, who's not raced thus far here tonight, is on the pole position, but it will be Stephanie Piccoli starting alongside. Tyler Sheep, Sam Chapman in behind them, Ash DeVries, Jack Anderson, Dan Bartish, Mick Clifton, Jordan Ferguson, Andrew Rushworth, Dougie Gowans, and then race 1 winner Tony Baker starts at the back end of the field in the full reverse grid here tonight for race number 2. This is going to be a wild affair. You guys do not want to miss any of it. 15 minutes of racing to come from Bathurst. Maximum pressure, maximum moments on offer for these drivers. Can they tackle the mountain and conquer it once again and do any better than they did in race number 1? Lights are up. Let's go racing at Bathurst for race number 2, round number 8 of season 1 of 2024 for the Legends World Challenge. We are go. It's an exceptional race start there from Piccoli. No wheel spin at all down towards turn number 1. Ferguson's already taken advantage of Clifton in the background as they trundle through turn number 1 for the very first time. Nice clean run for these drivers at the moment. Side by side for Chapman and DeVries up the straight. Sheepy all over the back of Piccoli right now. Is he going to send it up at turn 2? We'll have to wait and see. Gowans and Baker battling in the background as well as they run up the hill towards Griffin's Bend. You can see them all side by side into this corner. Piccoli and Sheaf. Sheaf round the outside, gets the job done. De Vries running it out wide. Chapman and Anderson trying to sneak up the inside of him, get the job done. Bartish tries to follow him through, couldn't quite get there. Gowans and Ferguson battling at the back with Baker. Rushworth now under pressure as well. Piccoli just trying to let these drivers pass at the moment. She knows she's off pace a little bit with this field as these drivers try again to get the job done. Could it be 3 wide with Anderson, Chapman and Piccoli? No, Anderson backs out of it at the final moment. Up across the top, Piccoli hits the wall, side swipes into Anderson, lucky not to take him out as she hits the Fujitsu wall on the left-hand side of track. But now Anderson under pressure here from Bartish. De Vries is in behind, lurking as swiftly as ever around the esky of greatness. Clifton in behind him, Rushworth follows, Baker, Piccoli, Gowans, Ferguson. That's the field at the moment. It's all being led by Tyler Sheaf. Sam Chapman in P2 as on board now with Anderson down towards Forest Elbow. This is where it all went wrong for him in race number 1. He's done well to make it through here nice and cleanly this time by. Bartish does so as well. So does Clifton. So they now all rocket down towards the chase. All the drivers in tow in behind Tyler Sheaf at the moment. The battle is on for the final podium position. Every driver has a chance to get this done here tonight if they can get close enough. Maximum pace, maximum effort for them. Anderson trying to cover the inside line of the chase. Going to try and cover at the next part of the chase. Does the job well. Back in the chat, lol, still on the phone, Kovic Clifton. Great to have you out there supporting him, Beck, even under Mick's account. Anderson, though, under all sorts of pressure here. Bartish and De Vries side by side into the final corner. Bartish hops the curb a little bit, somehow survives, but De Vries is now going to sneak past him as Clifton side by side now with Bartish towards turn number 1. Rushworth lurking in behind as well. Baker is yet to get past these guys. The battle is on up the hill. They're nearly making it 4x4 animal style. As Bartish is still under the pressure, under the guys. Baker is he is bump drafting him up the hill at the moment. Wild scenes, 3 wide into the cutting. Oh my God, how have they all survived that at the moment? Do they survive it? Oh my God, how have they? We nearly called it too soon. It looked like it was going to blow up, and somehow they make it through. Wow, wowee. Gowans and Clifton are side by side into the cutting. They somehow made it through Griffins. This is wild stuff at the moment. Baker already up 5 spots. Rushworth up 4. Gowans up 3. Bartish up 2. De Vries up 1. Anderson up 3. Sheaf up 1. Chapman now leads up 3 positions from where he started the race. Oh my God. This is wild action you could ever ask for. It's as wild as it could ever be. Through Skyline now and down the S's. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there from Chapman as he captures a little bit of a hump towards the dipper. How are the survival tactics of these drivers going at the moment? How are they surviving at this point in time? It's maximum pressure moments. Chapman leads, Sheaf in behind, Anderson, De Vries, Bartish, Rushworth, Baker, Gowans, Clifton, Ferguson, Piccoli makes up the field. Everyone's still on the lead lap. No one has had a major moment thus far, but we have come close. We are cooking with gas here on Friday nights of the Legends World Challenge. It is only getting bigger and better going forward. Remembering, if you've signed up for Season 1, you're still signed up for Season 2. You do not need to re-sign up. You will have access to the league. You'll have access to the races as of next season. Everything will be on the line next season. If you've loved what you've seen thus far and you're thinking about coming to racing with us, you only need to be a registered SRW driver to race in Legends World Challenge. You do not need to be a paying member. It is a free series, a free way to come racing and a fun way to come racing on a Friday night. It is all on offer as Anderson sets the fastest lap of the race last time by. No one has been able to match it just yet. A 2:38.6 from him. as Chapman runs it wide at turn 1. So settling in a little bit here, but we can see in the background the battle is not settling with Baker, Rushworth, Gowans and Clifton. Remembering that Rushworth and Baker, they're in the battle for a championship at the moment. These guys are two of the contenders alongside Anderson. They ever coming together to end up at the back of the field. They are only gifting Anderson 3 points against them and giving him an advantage going into the final round next week at Sandown. As Baker survives through turn 2, so does Rushworth, so does Gowans. Clifton and Ferguson lurking in behind as well. This is wild stuff. The battles are only getting better and better the more we go on, the more comfortable these drivers get with these cars, the more comfortable they get with pushing them to their absolute limits. Up through Sulman Park now. Still pushing hard, still willing to go the extra mile here. Down Skyline and the S's in towards the Dipper. Nice and easy does it. We are halfway through this race. Chapman leads to Sheaf and to Anderson in P3, De Vries P4. As Anderson and De Vries both get it past Sheaf there. Wild moment at the elbow. Barter's trying to get past now, but Sheafy just defending for his absolute life through there. How has he survived at this point? Through the chase. Barter's trying to go for an outside line on Sheaf. Not close enough just yet. Anderson's put it off track ahead. He's having to skate across the grass. That'll be a slowdown for him. We'll see how many positions he drops off this in towards the final corner. De Vries shoots the half up the inside of Anderson. Anderson runs it wide. Keeps it going though ahead of Sheaf. So in the end he ends up back in P3 on the road where he was at the top of the hill before getting past Sheafy at Forest Elbow. Look at that battle in the background. Clifty and Gowans, the Rockstar and the Grandpa, battling it out here, tooth and nail in behind Rushworth. Ferguson has the best seat in the house for this battle. He's got the front row ticket right now. Piccoli's in the background. In fact, Ferguson's trying to line something up here up the inside at Clifton. Gonna try and go too wide up the hill. Can he get the job done here on board? You can see Gowans and Rushworth. These guys still battling it hard. Into turn 2. Down the inside for Ferguson. Gets the job done on Mickey Clifton and now looks to get it done on Rushworth as well up at Griffin's. Or sorry, up at the cutting. Clifton tried to come back at him there, but he had to defend the inside. Does well. Racing has been top level tonight, folks. Absolutely top level. This is the place to be on a Friday night for some fun, furious action with the Legends World Challenge. As I mentioned, if you're thinking about racing next season, you simply just need to be a registered SRW driver. You do not need to be a subscriber, just a registered driver, and you can sign up within the Discord when the sign-ups reopen. But if you want to be a part of all the other series, of course, then you need to, you need to try subscribe. As Anderson has a massive moment, you need to be a subscriber if you want to be a part of the Supercars, the Super Formulas on Wednesday night, as well as the 8-6s on Thursday, the Supercars on Sunday as well. Oh, hit the dipper. That was what happened to Anderson. So he's trying to follow De Vries through there. Took a couple too many liberties down the hill. What's he done? Oh, he just ran it way wide and then clipped the wall. That's a wild moment there for Anderson. That could do in the championship for him. Maybe a drop round, but that is tough watching, tough viewing for him. Chapman leads, De Vries P2, Sheaf P3, Bartish P4, Baker in P5. Then Gowans, Ferguson, Rushworth, Clifton, Anderson, Piccoli makes up the rest of the field at the moment. You guys want to be watching next week for the final round. You may or may not have a giveaway coming next week in the final round. Possibly another season to give away. Need to confirm it with Sinker, of course, if we are allowed to do that here on Friday nights. So you want to be involved. Maybe we'll offer that to the winner of the championship, possibly. We'll see what Sinker says. We'll have the chats, have the conversations. As De Vries and Sheaf. Sheaf, he's lost it at Griffins. He's hit Bartish. Oh my God, massive moment. Baker's also been involved. Has he got damage or what? Wow, wowee. This could be a championship-changing moment of the season, folks. Because if Baker ends up at the back of the field, Rushworth's going to get past him here. That's big damage on the 0-4 machine. So all of a sudden, he is now dropping points to Andrew Rushworth. So this is what happened down there. It was a big moment. So Sheaf took a couple too many liberties on the outside of the track, got a little bit of oversteer, tried to catch on the curb, and then bang! Hell breaks well, but a massive contact there for Baker as he came past. Say what we will about the mistake from Sheafy, he did well to hold the brakes for a bit of damage limitation as, oh yeah, the steering is broken on that thing. That is done and dusted for the night for Baker, unfortunately, with only a couple of minutes to go. There goes his hopes of traversing through the field in this one. That is massive. Absolutely massive. And speaking of massive, the gap that Sam Chapman has right now back to Ash De Vries. 5 seconds back to De Vries at the moment. Further, nearly 4 seconds back from De Vries is Dan Bartish. And Dougie Gowans, Ferguson, Rushworth, Clifton, Baker, Sheaf, Piccoli. Anderson in pit lane out of this race, unfortunately. But this means that Rushworth is going to be taking a big chunk of points out of this race and cutting into the lead that Tony Baker has on this championship right now. This is a massive moment. He needs to try and get past Ferguson and Bartish here if he can. I believe... Oh, as Ferguson's gone round, so there's one spot. Ferguson has lost it at the final corner. Free position there to Andrew Rushworth. So, lucky for him, he now gets inside the top 5. Baker's in pit lane. Coming in to fix that car. So he's also now lost a spot to Piccoli as well. So now he is dropping 1, 2, 3, 4... around about 12 to 15 points to Andrew Rushworth. Wow. A mammoth drop there in points for Tony Baker comparatively to the Apex Esports League driver of Andrew Rushworth. This is a massive moment. As up the hill they rise now. Beck is down the chat in with her own account. Great to have you here, Beck, giving us the double viewing. Mickey Clifton's doing well here in P6 at the moment. He's right in behind Rushworth. We've got a little under 10 seconds on the timer left, so this is undoubtedly the final lap for Sam Chapman in this race. I don't even know who the round winner is at this point. Like, this is... Oh, it's tight. Anderson is back out on track, though, so he did go out there to try and get past Tony Baker, but I don't know if he's going to be able to. He has just had a crash, as is Dan Bartish up at the dipper. What has occurred up at the top of the hill? So Anderson was out there still with the damage. He came back out, had to go across, trying to avoid these guys. Oh, and then a massive moment into the dipper. Oh no, and then Rushworth came through, and almost an identical moment to Anderson's a couple of laps ago. That is unfortunate there for Dan Bartish. Another free position though to Andrew Rushworth. That now extends how many spots he had between him and Tony Baker. Down into the final corner now though for Sam Chapman after a dominant performance here in race 2. He crosses the line as race winner for Familiar Motorsports and race 2 of round number 8 of the season. De Vries is going to come home in an impressive P2. Gowan's home on the podium for the first time. Rushworth's going to come home in P4 with a massive points gain, and Clifton makes up the top 5. Bartish, I was going to say he comes home P6, but he's just caught the curb. How close is Sheafy? He's right there. Free position to Sheafy. He gets the job done. P6 on the road. He lost it at the final moments, did Bartish. Comes home P7. Ferguson in behind. Baker, a far ways back, is going to come home in P9 with Anderson making up the top 10 in an exceptional performance for a lot of these drivers down there. It was a sight to behold. We will now bring up our provisional results for race 1 and race 2. This is how they finished it out in race number 1, of course. Tony Baker came home ahead of Doug Gowans in P2, so a double podium tonight for Gowans. That wins him the round. Rushworth, Ferguson, Clifton, Bartish, Anderson, De Vries, Chapman, Chief, Piccoli, Brown. We'll then look at the feature race results here for Chapman, De Vries, Gowans, Rushworth, Clifton, Chief, Bartish, Ferguson, Baker, Piccoli, and Anderson at the back end of the field. I am just going to quickly go in there and tell Mr. Gowans to join me in the green room as the round. Well, unfortunately, I was not able to tell Dougie Gowans to come and have a chat to me. Unfortunately, as you can see, we have got Sam Chapman in there. We'll have a chat to him as race winner of race number 2. Mr. Chapman, you are the feature race winner here tonight. And what was a hectic race in behind you? It was a cool, calm, collected finish for yourself, sir. What was it like rocketing these things around Bathurst?
Bumpy. They feel remarkably slow around Bathurst on the straights. Like, you don't really notice it on some of the other tracks, but when you're doing like you do a couple of practice laps or something, and you go, oh gee, all right, there's a lot of time just spent on the straight here. But yeah, as usual, they're fun. They're great. They're great to race with.
It really is. This track is almost like all your time can be made up across the top of the mountain. And then through the straights and down towards through the first and last sort of sector, you're kind of just waiting to get to the end of the lap, isn't it? It's more or less, if you're trying to find time, you got to find a way to push up the top of the mountain because there's not much pace to be found when you're so slow down the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's bits and pieces in the gear change and that sort of thing, but realistically, it's on top of the mountain. I mean, you've got like turn 1 and the sort of final sector. There's time in that as well. Along the top of the mountain, it's actually not a huge amount of time because it's all so flat out after you come out from the cuttings. So you can actually just take the middle of the track rather than try to use all the track really, because it is also flat out. But then coming down Skyline, all that sort of thing is obviously pretty pretty dicey. But if you get it right, it's pretty tricky. It's pretty nice.
Now, you found yourself in a bit of a wild incident on lap 1 of race 1 when Ashton Reese somehow found an invisible jump on the side of the road and his car absolutely collected the side of you. What was the thought process when that happened? Because it was pretty wild from our view, because he's literally jumped on the grass, the car's then ricocheted into the side of you and then hit Sheafy on the outside. What was the thoughts of that happened? Because it was pretty wild from my seat.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest move. Like, it was, I mean, I was slow coming out because, you know, like the incident, you know, I got caught up in before where the cars crashed in front of me. So, you know, I was a bit slower coming out of that straight. And I think he probably went for a gap that wasn't there. And, you know, on some cars that might work to an extent as well. Like the suspension's so hard on these, you sort of jittering along like you're in a go-kart. So if there is any bumps, which there clearly is, it could just send you, and that's sort of what happened to him there. And you know, there was a car next to me as well, so it was a bit of a difficult one to get out of. But it is what it is. That's what happens when you don't qualify and you start at the back. It's you know, you leave yourself up for those sorts of incidents, and you know, I was ready for that. It's all just a bit of fun.
Well, that's it, mate. Yeah, it's only a bit of a fun series. Wild, ambitious moves or not, it's you know, it's a rock up race and try and have a bit of fun in amongst it as well. And through all that, you managed to take yourself a race win in race number 2, a much easier race for you in terms of the fact that you started from the front end of town and you just rocketed away fairly early. You know, next week it's Sandown. Obviously, you have to attack curbs there. Legends hate curbs. Is the mindset just going to be try and park the thing in the middle of the road and hope you make the tight corners, especially through 2, 3, and 4, or just attack those curbs and hope for the best?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be here to send it. Just an interesting choice down in these. Yeah, you're right. It's yeah, I don't think you go over the curbs in these. To be honest, they'll be too unpredictable, to bounce you up too much, and they're sort of slow enough that you can probably, you know, just try and really hug them. Maybe that sort of second curve in the chicane, because it will give you a little bit of rotation to continue on that left, but. Yeah, you probably want to avoid the aggressive curbs. You still probably want to take the curb as you come down into Dandenong, but you know, you have to be pretty careful not to have it throw you off at the same time. And then yeah, I don't know about that final corner as well. Whether or not you want to take curbs there, it'll be interesting to see how everyone sort of gets a feel for it. But I'd imagine there'll be a few spinners and a few incidents if people are optimistic with the curbs.
Yeah, I think hit the nail on the head pretty much with it, and it's going to be a tough task next week, regardless of who is in the field. It's going to be tough for these drivers to find their way around, figure out where exactly they want to attack curbs, if they want to attack curbs at all, and just finding those fine lines, hitting those 1%ers to get the most out of it. But thanks for coming over to chat to me, mate, tonight. Congratulations on your win in race number 2. Let us know. Helps get you and Vermilion Motorsports out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout-out to as well? And if you are here next week, best of luck for Sandown. If not, we hope to see you in Season 2 next season.
Thanks, mate. I'll go through the sponsor list. So Vermilion Motorsports, Race Lab, Overlays, Burb Design, Supernova Motorsports, Moser Racing, Hymo Setups, and Vermilion X Coaching.
Very good, mate. Best of luck in any future races you are doing, whether it's here with us in Legends or any other racing series. And hope you have a good weekend and a good next week as well, in case you aren't here.
Yeah, thanks, Hamish, and thank you for doing the broadcast all season if I don't see you again.
No worries, Sam. Thanks, mate.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, that was Sam Chapman, of course, race winner of race number 2. Dougie Gowan's taking out the round win here tonight after getting 2 podiums from 2 in an exceptional performance from himself. But that will bring an end to round number 8 of Season 1 of the Legends World Challenge here in SRW for 2024. Out at Mount Panorama Circuit. We'll be here once again next week for Sandown for the final round. We will possibly see you later for GTDs for the Warren Brown Tools GTD series, dependent on driver numbers, of course, within the session. But if not, we'll see you guys Sunday night for Supercars. If we do, I'll see you guys in around about half an hour's time. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, we appreciate your time for being with us once again. We want to shout out all of our series sponsors. Once again, Warren Brown Tools, title sponsors of the V8 Supercars on Tuesdays and Sundays, GTDs on Fridays. Cooler Master for supporting the Super Formula Championship. Shannon's Insurance for supporting the GR86s. As well as other sponsors, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Scenery, and Grim Industries, the home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia, where it can be seen in the studio for the news, interviews, or whatever they may be doing inside. For myself, I'm Mishmano. This has been the Legends World Challenge, round number 8 of Season 1 of 2024 out at Bathurst. Until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing. Up it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely